Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to do a first impression slash review on the makeup palette that I purchased from Revolution. So this is their collaboration with a makeup artist called Maxine. Last three letters I cannot pronounce, I'm not even gonna try. So she's a Polish YouTuber slash makeup artist. I actually have to research her because I'm not really familiar of her work. But when I saw this palette, I immediately had to get it because this is a eyes and face palette, and this is called Beauty Legacy, which is a travel friendly makeup palette. I was actually pretty much fascinated with this purple shade right here. I love that she incorporated it in this palette. So this palette contains highly pigmented eyeshadows, contour, blush, and highlight. It contains 1.2 grams of pigment, and the packaging of this eyeshadow palette is actually pretty different from the Revolution eyeshadow palettes that I have. This comes in a cardboard packaging, which I thought was very different for Makeup Revolution. It's fairly thin, as you can see. It contains decent sized mirror, and then there's the eyeshadow palette. I've already kind of played with it off camera because I just can't resist. So you have the basic face eyeshadow palette that you get, which I think can be perfect for light medium to medium tan skin tones. And then for the eyeshadow shades, I love that she's got a base, a black eyeshadow, which I have to be honest is very hard to find in a lot of eyeshadow palettes, to have them both at the same time. And then you have a nice transition shade from like cool tone, and then you have a warm tone, and then you have that cranberry shade, as well as this charcoal kind of brown shade. And then you have the three shimmers, which is great for everyday, or you could even glam it up. And of course you have a pop of color right here, which I think can transform any look from day to night. So I love that she really thought about that. And also the shades has got names. So I'm going to swatch the face products first. We have Grand Tan, which looks a little bit red on the pan, but it's actually cool tone. And then Love's Hue, which is the blush, which has more of that peachy brown shade. And also the Pure Glow, which is your subtle highlighter. It's not shimmery, it's not glittery, it's just a glow. So here are the swatches. On my skin tone, this could be a good contour shade. So if I were to bronze, I would probably mix the blush and the contour shade together to create that perfect bronzy glow. The highlighter, I'm actually not that obsessed. I like my highlighter to be a bit wet and metallic looking, but if you're an everyday person, this could actually be good for all over the eyes, or if you just want to highlight your nose and the brow bone area, that would be good. So we're going to move on to swatching the shimmery shades first. So we have Copper, which, as expected, shimmery shades from Makeup Revolution feels a little bit gritty, but the color payoff is amazing. Oh my god, the orchid though. Oh, that is so pretty. That orchid shade surprisingly turned out to swatch really good. So it has more of like a pink shift to it, which would be great for like a lower lash line or all over the lid look. Oh, that is so pretty. And now we are going to move on to the mattes. I know for a fact that Makeup Revolution mattes are very pigmented, but most of them swatch a bit powdery and patchy, but once you blend it into your eyes, it is a whole nother level. So we are going to start off with Canvas and Ash, and we have the Brick. So here are the basic shades that I'm pretty sure is a must-have, especially if you want like a travel friendly eyeshadow palette, because you could just never go wrong with it. So here are the shade. I do apologize for Ash because I swatched the black beforehand, so it kind of stained it. I'm going to swatch Ash once again. So I'm going to swatch it in here so you can see the full pigment. So that's Ash right there. And this is Brick, and this is Canvas, which is a nice beige shade. And I am going to swatch the last darker shades of the matte shadows. So we have Petal, which is a nice cranberry shade, we have Smoke, which is again the charcoal brown, and the Night, which is the black. Oh my god, they are so pigmented. Mind you, this black stains, so just be aware of that. So this is what the last three shadows look like. Oh my god, the black shade is very pigmented. Then you have that charcoal brown and then the purple. Again, swatching it can be a little bit tricky because like if I want to get a perfect swatch, I have to really go over it a few times, but one swipe though, it's pretty reasonable. Like you could tell that it will blend easily. Let's go and create a makeup look. I actually don't have anything in mind. I've already applied my foundation, so I am looking a little bit flat. So what I'm going to do is to start with the bronzer. So I'm going to take the Grand. Ooh, she's a bit powdery, so you can see. So I'm going to start with the Grand and bronze. Pop a little bit on my nose. I'm going to pick up this brush right here, dip it. Again, it's a little bit powdery, so just tap off the excess. And I'm going to start at the back and pull that towards the apples. And I'm putting it a little bit higher than the usual blush spot. The shade reminds me of the copper tone blush from MAC, which I actually love for everyday. She's very pigmented, so just keep that in mind. For the highlight, I'm going to pick up that highlight. Again, it's a little bit powdery. So again, the highlighter is not that pigmented because I guess she just wants like a subtle glow because it's an everyday highlighter. I mean, it's there, it gives you a nice glow, but it's not intense. So I think I am going to put a little bit of this shade mixed in here so we have that metallic vibe going on. Yes. So that's a lot better. So you could mix in a little bit of crystal and the pure glow and you'll get the intense highlight that you're wanting. But if you want more of like a very subtle glow, then just stick to pure glow. One thing I also noticed is that you could actually fill in your brows using this eyeshadow palette as well. You can either go for ash or smoke or mixed in like the transition shades to get that warmer look, or even just go with smoke and brick and you're good to go. So it's a multi-purpose palette as well, and it sticks to its name as a travel palette. So for the eyes, I have a little bit of eczema at the moment on my lids. That's why it's looking a little bit dry. Like I've put on the baking oil from Makeup Revolution, but it's still looking crusty. So I am going to go and use canvas and pop that all over the lid. And for transition shade, I am going to go and use brick. Again, it's a little bit powdery, so just keep that in mind. To deepen up the eye a little bit, I am going to go and use Petal. So I'm going to focus that on the crease area. Again, these shadows are very pigmented and very blendable. And I am going to go and smoke it out a little bit with this shade right here called Smoke on the same brush, and just focus that on the outer part. And I'm going to switch into a smaller brush. I'm going to pick up Brick once again because I don't want to lose that cranberry shade. And I'm just gonna kind of define the crease a little bit. For the lower lash line, I am going to pick up this Petal shade right here and run that along. And kind of connect that on the outer V. And for the outer V, I'm going to take Smoke on the same brush and just apply that. So now I am going to pick up this shade right here called Orchid, and I'm going to pick up it in a small brush. I'm not going to use any concealer or anything like that because I want the intensity of the eyeshadow to show up. It comes off as like a duochrome eyeshadow. I feel like it would look more intense using my finger. So I'm gonna pack that on. Oh yes. And I'm going to go and use smoke to blend that. So for the inner part of the eyes, I am going to pick up crystal and apply that. This brush is terrible, so I'm going to use the same brush that we picked up before. And I'm going to use a little bit of copper and just put that just here. Use petal once again to blend. And I'll just quickly finish off my eyes off camera and I'll come back to share with you guys my final thoughts about the eyeshadow palette. Here is the final makeup look. I thought I would put on like a semi-dramatic lashes. So overall my thoughts, I actually really like this travel makeup palette. The highlight though is a little bit subtle than what I was hoping for. So I kind of mixed in a little bit of this crystal right here, which has the kind of like peachy sheen, just to add a little bit more wetness and shimmer into the highlighter, and that actually worked quite well. If you want more of a bronzy look, I would highly suggest you mixing these two because it would create a perfect bronzer. But as for a contour shade, this is actually perfect. It's not very ashy, it's not very red tone, it's more on the neutral side, which can work on a lighter skin tone to medium tan skin tones. If you want a little bit of sheen on the blush, maybe mix these two together. For the eyeshadow shades, honestly they blend pretty well. As you can see, the purple is very pigmented. I did not use any concealer or primer at all. It's best to apply it with your fingers. As for the shimmers, they're very pigmented as well. They work perfectly together. And the transition shades, honestly, you can use this to fill in your brows. You can even use this to contour your nose, or you could also use this on different things. Like I use this black eyeshadow right here to tightline and cover the lash band, and that worked out pretty good. And also you can create an everyday wear with focusing on just 3 shades right here and then maybe a pop of shimmer, if you will. I would recommend this eyeshadow palette, and I'm actually quite pleased that I have found a travel makeup palette that I could take with me anywhere. I'm not sure if this is limited edition, but if you can, grab it off the Revolution website. That's it for my video today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!